Where's our next question?
I'm a candidate for State House Rep District 96. As a member of the Libertarian Party, obviously I can see how you and I could work together, but how do you see your ability to work with members of other parties in the House and Senate? And what plans do you have to work together, or perhaps more strategically, not work with certain members on certain issues?
Ms. Youngblood.
Well, they say that Governor of Texas is a very weak position. I disagree. I think the Governor of the state of Texas is a very strong position. And one thing that a governor can do is call special sessions and say, this is the one, you will consider this one thing. Of course, we all like to get along, but I think that's not something that you can count on, just being bipartisan and working together. I think you've got to hold their feet to the fire and go to the people and make your case. But then in special session, like for property taxes, for education, for eminent domain, I mean, just one after another. I know we don't like it when the legislature is in session, but we've got a lot of makeup work to do to get back on track to liberty. And I think that's one thing the governor can do. It's called special session, one after the other, for a particular thing, publicize it, go to the people, not let them leave till it's done.
Well, this next session is going to be a very nice one. We have redistricting coming up.
Oh.
We know how well the legislatures work together during redistricting, don't we? So as a governor, you'll have your hands cut out with that alone. But I think as a governor, as a third-party governor, now I've got the opportunities to play both sides of the fence. I can pit each one against the other, or I can try to make them work together. It takes a governor that's going to be strong, but it takes a governor that's going to be fair. You've got to open communications with both sides. Let them know what your plan is. Accept their plan, or listen to their plan, I should say, and get it all hashed out. There's going to be some fighting, but eventually you can make it work out. And as Kathy says, if you have to, you call special sessions. You've got things you can use to influence them. Thank you.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I've worked with this type of scenario before, and it's probably the worst case scenario when you get in politics. It's almost like being in a junior high atmosphere and different cliques and trying to get them to agree on what should happen. It's nearly impossible. But one of the key factors is bringing everybody together and truly having some sort of conversation the best you can. Even though I found myself in positions where somebody is completely opposed to their general thought process, how they're getting to a solution, I listened to it carefully. Sometimes there's a dime in there that you can take away and you can improve legislation, and that alone sometimes gets the buy-in from the other side. But I think as governor, what you have to do is you have to go in and let them understand what you're going to do. Let them know that you have veto power. With veto power, it's pretty powerful in this state. Again, we might be a weak governor state, but with veto power, it's pretty incredible. There's only been one overturned veto of a governor in the last 2 decades. So the governor has an awful lot to say as to what's going to happen in this state through that veto. So that's how you bring people together, is you let them know that you're going to bring everybody together. We're going to discuss this in an orderly fashion. We're going to try to come up with some good solutions. And then if they don't, and they try to pass something that you don't agree with, you use your veto.
Well, first I have some personal experience in working with tripartisan organizations back in Houston, Coalition for Improved Transit, the Greater Houston Tax Coalition. So I know what it's like to work individually or as an individual with members of other parties. Secondly, what libertarians traditionally do in this situation is to work on an issue-by-issue basis, putting together coalitions with the two tax subsidized parties. Third, if there's a case of just general refusal, we have the example of Maine back in the 70s when an independent was elected governor and the legislature refused all of his requests to reform the state budget. What he did is he went directly to the voters and said to them, pick up the telephone, this is before internet, pick up the telephone or go to your typewriter, contact your state representative, contact your state senator individually and let them know that you want these reforms passed. Worst comes to worst, office, the governor can do that, and I'm certainly more than happy to do that, along with the issue-by-issue coalition building.
Thank you. I think we've got time for maybe one or two more good questions before we hear the closing statements.
Yeah.